right.
Beloved friends
Man,
and family. How y'all doing? We back. Here for you. Here to invite you into the conversation once again. Before we start, though, I just want you to know that you are loved, you are cherished, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is no one like you in the world. That's how amazing you are. Even if you have a twin, even if you have a son or a daughter that look a lot like you, there's no one like you. There's no one that is identical to you. That's just how special you are. You're meant for amazing things. You will do amazing things. Know this. Hey, Daddy, Daddy.
what's up, baby girl? How's it be? What it be? What it do? What it do?
Man, Lord have mercy. It's been
Everybody
a
all right?
day.
It's good to be here. All right.
It's been a full day. How you doing? You good?
I am awesome. My life is full, and
Yeah.
I enjoy the fullness of my life. So
Yeah,
sometimes
really.
when your life is full, you get a little fatigued, but it's a good fatigue. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to pursue dreams. It's fun to pursue vision. It's fun to run with joy
Mm,
instead of running to preserve. And
mm,
the preservation, I'm running out of the sheer joy I'm running.
mm.
God is good. So it's a little fatigue, but it's good. It's all rewarding.
I love how
Amen.
you just extracted all that goodness out of what could potentially be perceived as negative. We,
Well,
we,
I think,
you
I'm
know,
sorry.
count
Yeah,
those blessings. Don't go for it. You good?
good. Well, I think in life, I think in my 65 years of existence, if there's one thing I've learned is that life will always hand you not what you want, but
Mm.
it'll hand you what you aspire to be and the preparation thereof. It'll hand you the preparation for your aspirations. Being a dreamer is dangerous because here's the problem that dreamers are, if they're not kept on track emotionally, physically, uh, entertainment wise, they slowly become discouraged
Yeah.
because it's dangerous to dream. Because I often refer to the scripture as I always do: a dream cometh with much business and painful effort. The order, the structure, the discipline that it takes to have the dream of relationship,
Mm.
to have the dream of a house, to have a dream, anything you dream about that's beyond your present reach, but it reaches into your future and your aspirations and your desires. Uh, it's costly for the moment, but rewarding for the future. And that comes with, I think there is no replacement for knowing yourself. I don't know who said it, but it says, "To thine own self be true." I think with Shakespeare or some other whatever poet or whatever playwright. I think it's difficult to be true to yourself when it's not stationary and it's not stable.
What's not stationary and stable?
The self you're trying to be true to.
Yes. That's what I thought you meant, but I just wanted you to confirm.
Yeah. Yourself can't be subject to internet influence. Yourself can't be subject to. And when I say influence, there's some great things we can learn from the internet.
Yeah.
There's some not so great things we can learn,
Yeah.
but you have to learn how to be within the structure of being a dreamer. You have to understand the discipline of what you can allow in and what you can't allow in. There's a discipline that comes with that. And I think most of the things that we're challenged with really have nothing to do with our present situation. Most of what we deal with, and I'll use myself as an example, most of what we deal with is past situations that have gone unresolved, but because the present situation is a band-aid, no need to deal with it.
Which
You
is a
understand?
recipe for disaster.
Very much so. There is no way that a young lady or a young man should ever engage in a relationship in a serious manner if there has been some type of sexual violation in the past
Yeah.
that has not been discussed, or some kind of parental violation, or the way you were raised, how you were raised. There's so many elements to two people coming together.
Hmm.
And as I always say, relationship is never 50-50.
Mm.
And as much as we try, it's never 50-50. At best, it's 65-35, it's 70-30,
Depends on
60-40,
the day.
depending on what day it is and what weakness you're willing to deal with.
Mm. You also have always said relationships are about strengths accommodated, and weaknesses tolerated.
And what I find to be in my occupation, and having done some what is termed as premarital counseling, I find that most people are more excited about the event of the wedding than they are planning for the future of the relationship. Because I think we become so involved, as you've been married before, and my other daughters are married, so we become so involved in all of the perfunctory things that have to do with the wedding to give the appearance that this relationship is going to last. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that's derogatory, nor is that negative. That just seems like the emphasis is lost in the event, whereas
The purpose of the marriage is
it's lost in
in
the
the
event.
event.
I
Yeah.
just want to know that I'm married. I just want to know that I have a wife. I want to know that I have a husband, and not really understanding the investment that you're making and that you're intertwining souls who've come from different other soul experience with others. And you're trying to blend those attitudes. Now you're not only dealing with that, you're also dealing with the environment in which that person was raised, which
Yeah.
may be totally different than yours. And there is a wisdom and there is an understanding that an individual has to have, and a commitment to the relationship that an individual has to be flexible enough to change, to alter, to because if not, we become very resistant.
Mm.
And one of the most difficult things is to deal with people who are trying to forget a hurt that was caused by someone else, and they think you can solve it.
That is very difficult.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It,
ma'am.
and it feels impossible.
It is.
Yeah.
No one can heal another person's hurt. I can be an assistance to your process, but I cannot be the source of your healing. The source of your healing is always going to come within. It's always going to be as a result of your own mechanisms, your own thinking, your own ingenuity, your own wisdom, your own whatever it takes to get you from point A to point B. Because it's one of the most insecure places to be is in the place of change.
Yes.
That's why most people won't and
Yeah.
don't. Because it's safer to live in an environment that you're not safe in because you become comfortable with not being safe.
It's safer to live in an environment that you
Feel unsafe. It's
feel
safer for a
unsafe
person
in. Uh-huh.
that you feel unsafe because you're becoming comfortable with being unsafe.
Huh.
Let me give you an example.
Yes, please do.
Money doesn't make you rich or wealthy.
No.
It just gives you access to more.
Well, you've also always said money does not change you. It only makes you more of who you are because you have more resources to be more of who you are.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with having money. If you still have the mentality of a poor person.
Right. Poverty
And what I
mentality.
find in
Yeah.
relationship is most of us get married with the idea of a single person.
Expound on that.
I'm coming into this relationship and this is what I'm expecting. And if I don't get what I want in this relationship, it's not going to work. And I will stay in the relationship because of my religious belief or because of some other extenuating circumstances, kids, whatever. And I'm not denigrating that, but I'm going to stay in this relationship. But I'm not going to deal with the antagonistic situation that exists as a result of something that's broken in me because I don't want you bringing up my brokenness.
So then what's the point of the relationship?
The relationship is a place of physical security.
Mm.
And I find in our society, and I'm going to use this in terms of young ladies, we give up the emotional bond, we give up the maternal instinct for arranged relationship with someone that meets a immediate physical needs.
Yeah.
And then you end up broken and empty on the inside because this person's you didn't marry this person to meet a need to meet an emotional or a love need. You married this person so that you didn't have to be by yourself and you didn't have to pay your bills by yourself.
No,
And that can happen on both sides.
right.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, just it didn't have that kind of decision doesn't have anything to do with partnering in relationship, with being a true partner in relationship. When I hear partnership in relationship, I hear ride or die. I hear someone who's by your side as a friend, as a lover, as a companion, someone you confide in, someone who you have confirmed or they have shown you that they are willing or have already begun to contribute to a safe place and space for you to share your vulnerabilities. If
Mm-hmm.
you're just saying yes to somebody because they can pay your bills, I I don't see how that's a real life partner. It's a situational contract.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But many females have been raised with that idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but if I go back to my era, if I go back to the 60s and the 70s, because we live in a completely different time, and I don't have a axe to grind with this time and thinking that my time was better or our time was better, but it was different back then because uh, we wasn't aware of baggage. We
Mm,
just knew we understood the satisfaction of the immediacy of a relationship and it
yeah.
made us feel secure. I
Yeah.
didn't have enough wisdom at 20 something years old, I'm sure, and I won't speak up for my wife, but I didn't have enough wisdom and understanding about relationship to even enter into a relationship. Even though we had a child, it was not, it was not, the equipment wasn't there. The commitment, but not the equipment. And it made the journey that much harder. And what I did learn during the process is that marriage won't work if nobody yields.
Ooh, no.
Uh, the the older I have become and the more seasoned I have become in life and relationship, the more I realize that we marry sometimes with the wrong
Mm,
understanding. Uh, the things that I learned through wounds and through scars.
mhm.
You know, there's a better way to learn. I don't need to fall off the wagon to realize that if you go around a curve too fast, then you're gonna come off. But and you learn too that you don't marry that person. You marry their history.
Right. You've said
And
that
the problem with that is that it would be great if it was history, but it never is.
because it still creeps up to the
It keeps coming back. And you're looking at the person, you've been in a relationship, and you're looking at the
yeah.
person like, where's this coming from? I asked you to just move that over there, and you just tell me, I can't tell you what to do. You're not going to be, you're like, whoa. And even with our own individual selves, I find myself, things coming out of me, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Where did it came from?
Yeah.
And then I have to trace the root. Because if I don't trace the root, it grows to bitterness.
Well, see, that's one of the things that I love about you though. And it might be one of those things that I love because I'm cut from your cloth and I do the
Very
same.
much so.
I it's not enough for me just to make a mistake. Made a
Mm,
lot of mistakes.
good.
A lot of mistakes. And I do this because I count every mistake
Mhm.
as an opportunity for growth and for learning and the opportunity for me to not make that choice again. But
Mhm.
in the perceived mistakes that I've made, it's not enough for me to say, "Oh, well, yeah, I made a mistake. Everybody's human. I'll just move on." And no, why did I make that choice? Why was it a mistake? Oh, okay, well, it was a mistake because I wound up hurt. It was a mistake because I wound up in a situation that
Mhm.
this wasn't at all the goal. This wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. What's my part in it? Why did I make the decision that I made? What's the root of the decision that I made? What other decisions am I making that come from this same root? You know, that root tracing thing I think is vital to one's maturity and our growth and us bettering ourselves, because especially when we're in relationship, right? Because it's so easy, especially if one person can be identified to have done something that
Mhm.
violates the relationship. It's so easy for us to be like, oh, well, everything went to,
Well, he cheated, she cheated, they did whatever, whatever. Right.
so it's on them. They made the mistake. It's all their fault. Oh, okay. They absolutely made a mistake. They absolutely violated the relationship. But what was your part in it?
And what's the history?
It's worth asking the question and really being honest with oneself, really being honest enough with yourself. But then that brings on a whole nother topic of conversation, which is being honest with ourselves. How many of us are honest with ourselves? How many of us look ourselves in the mirror and really tell ourselves what we need to be told?
Well, I think that's a process.
Yeah.
And I think it's a process that comes to term when nothing out here satisfies you. I think as long as I can buy a new car, live in a new house, get a new dress, buy some Louis Vuitton, long as I can
Mm,
perpetrate the surface success of life, even in relationship, I can make it look as though we have this great successful relationship because I'm able to navigate public appearances in such a way as if I'm an actor. So I have this whole disguise, and the whole disguise, if it's a disguise, what am I covering?
right.
And usually I'm covering an ugly past. We mistake, there's a scripture that says, forgetting those things are behind and reaching forth to the things that are before you. Here's the problem with forgetting. Most of us want to forget what behind, but we don't have anything to reach forth.
Mm,
The mechanism that makes you
mm,
forget is the reaching forth. The reason I'm been married over 40 years is because I love my wife, number one, and then number two is because I'm not in love with in love
mm.
or the
The feel-
feelings that
the feelings.
I'm in love with the purpose that love brings.
You're in love with
With
the
the,
purpose that love.
i.e., your sisters, your brother,
Oh, I love that.
is it's the purpose. And when you have something that makes you reach out beyond your present self, it causes the relationship that you had to produce this to be enduring, even though maybe at times where it may not be as comfortable or it may
Yeah.
not be as quote unquote happy,
Yeah.
but the enduring quality of it is I see something bigger than just the pain of the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I can't see the two of us without seeing the 14 of us.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I think that most relationships are in a hostage situation.
Hostage situation. Explain that, Papa.
They're being held hostage to someone's unwilling to relieve themselves of a hurt from a past relationship.
Yeah.
You're a female. You're a young lady. We all have some inkling or an idea of our first real relationship. Unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
With that comes a tie of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So your relationship that comes after that, let's say, providing that relationship, that initial relationship was impactful and powerful, there was love, there was all of the ingredients that made it what it was, it becomes the formula for you to judge every relationship by.
Mm-hmm.
If it was successful, no man would be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
If it was broken, he can't do nothing right.
That's so real.
Now you say, well, oh, shoot, Dad, I'm sorry. Oh, shoot.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, hold on.
Dad, that's been 15, 20 years ago. The problem about it is that sin don't get old. It renews itself. And I think most of us are living in hostage relationships. And what I mean by that, we're hostage to relationships, to some stuff that we don't understand about the past. Why did she do that to me? Why did he do that to me? And we always got the because, and the because is always outside of us.
Yes. And that's what I was speaking to. The
problem is my because doing things to my wife or to my daughters or to anybody, it's never because of what they did. I'm not
right.
oblivious of influence. I'm not oblivious of instigation. I'm not oblivious of temptation or any of those things. Those are all part of it. But you have to be subject to those things. So everything goes back to you. It goes back to me. And how I form and shape the vision of my life based on the material that I've been given. If I'm with a spouse who's not willing to deal with their past, and it has bearing on the present relationship, what do I do?
What do I do?
Well, you do what you normally do. You love till it becomes easy. You love until it becomes easy. Because there's so much of us that is left with a lack of trust when we go through broken relationships. We don't, one of the issues I think in the church and in society is that we don't really dissect why this is not working or why this is working. We simply are excited when it is and dumbfounded when it's not, or pissed off or angry, or
more so the latter. Yeah.
We don't. And let me just say this. I've always said this as a cliche, but when you live it, you marry the person and their history.
Straight. Yes, sir.
And you can't be angry at the person you married because you were so busy looking at how fine he was and how fine she was that you forgot to get a recorded history. You understand what I'm saying? The wisdom that comes with age, I guess it only comes with age. You understand what I mean? So I think if us, as you said earlier, I think if you and I or people would get to a place, if people like myself and yourself who are desirous of relationship, is that we would get to know us. It would solve so much. There are arguments that don't have to be had if I don't have no ego to fight with. I've learned to discern between what wants to fight with my ego and what has a point to be taught.
Yes.
I either have two modes. Either I'm a teacher or I'm being taught. Never a fighter.
Never a fighter. Never a fighter.
So in every situation, if I've got it wrong, teach me. If I'm seeing this wrong, teach me. In other situations, you got this wrong. Let me teach you. You understand?
But for both, the willingness, the capacity for both.
Yeah.
To be able to identify, acknowledge, yield to either scenario. You made a comment and you said the wisdom that comes with age. Do you believe that wisdom also comes with experience and tracing roots and why? And I say that because I've gotten some of my greatest healing from the disappointments of relationships.
Most definitely. All of us have.
But I've gotten my greatest healing from owning my part.
Right.
Tracing the root of my own actions. Because then it's like, oh, well, you made that choice and you moved ahead in that way. Well, you did that, which probably communicated this or communicated that. And that's not necessarily, I'm not absorbing someone else's faults or someone else's actions or anything like that. but really just owning my part and understanding my own psyche,
I got you.
my own systems of belief, my own systems of relating, of being in relationship, of communicating, not communicating. I've gotten my greatest healing in facing myself and asking myself the hard questions and talking to myself and being honest about things.
Can
My
I can I make a point to you?
Yes.
This is a point to you, and maybe the people can benefit from this because you're much like your father.
Mm,
And we were talking before we went on, and you were saying how you are a perfectionist,
mm,
and I'm much like you are.
mm,
And marriage has taught me the balance
mm.
because perfectionists are critical people, and
Yeah.
they never allow other people the creative space. And when I say the creative space, if you're going to correct what I do, then what I created is not good enough.
Yes.
Uh, Going behind your mama to clean the kitchen when she's done,
Mhm.
doing stuff like that, thinking that I want it to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Well, that's insulting,
It is
and
insulting.
it's as much as you and I look at it as being advancing what we're doing, taking care of what we're stewards over. We have a lot of little flowery stuff that we can say to make it to a sage
Make it
hour.
okay. Hmm.
Yeah, to make it palatable and edible. But the bottom line is being a perfectionist is hard work because you always have a critical eye. And I think that has a lot to do with the time that it takes for you and me to get ready, the meticulous, the hair out of place that we got to go back and fix, the things that we consider to be normal and it should be accepted as everybody's normal. Because we don't look at your face, we look at your eyebrows, you ain't done. Anyway, and that's a dangerous place.
It is.
It's the assumption that the way you think things should be done is the only way.
Right.
So with my perfectionist, I still have the same critiques and the same critical thinking and the same observations that they still roll around in my head. I just learned how to process them different through my behavior.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's relationship. Weakness tolerated, strength accommodated.
And accommodated.
You
Yeah.
know, he's not a great cook or not a great whatever, but he's a great this, he's a great that. You know what I'm saying? And never one thing you should never compromise on is I always judge men, especially about whether their ability to take care of a woman by how they take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that every man who
Yeah.
may not take care of themselves, because they may not be taking care of themselves because of the job that they have that doesn't allow them that amount of time. So that's not in any way to be critical. But even that man that does that understands the value of his health. So he's
Yeah.
going to do certain precautionary things to ensure that he can continue to provide for his family. Even us, even the most ardent, hard-headed men like myself, we understand the value of going to the doctor, not for us, but for the family and for the people that we support and we take care of.
Not just for you, because
Not.
you're absolutely at the top of the list in
Yeah.
terms of take care of you for you first and foremost. You
Right,
gotta
right,
be you
right.
gotta be healthy. You gotta be good. You gotta be A1 first. And then yes, we reap the benefits of that and we would want you
Yeah,
to want you
yeah.
to.
So I think that when it comes to relationship, it's a how do I put it? It's a mixture of pungent and sweet. I didn't
Yeah.
say bitter. Pungent to me is a little bit different because I think it's the tasting, as it were. I almost use this, and I hope nobody gets grossed out by it, but it's like a burp that came from 10 years ago.
Mm,
What happens in relationships? You get into a relationship with somebody, an incident takes place that reminds you of that previous relationship and what happened in that previous relationship,
yeah.
then
It
you burp.
triggers.
Now you've got more than two people fighting in a room.
Isn't that something? You got daddies in there, you got mamas, grandma, cousins,
Molesters,
siblings.
ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, you got all of them in there because I'm not going to, I should, but I'm not going to tell you the effects of my brokenness, because if I tell you how he broke me, then that will diminish on how much you feel I feel for you, and vice versa. Makes no sense.
It doesn't, but
it makes sense in the process of this desire for relationship. And when I say companionship, because I think we can have companions and never have relationships.
and that's the truth.
Yeah, you can have companions. So this desire for relationship and understanding how much damage you can do, knowing your own. I've been in counseling sessions where a woman just don't understand how much she can hurt this man. I've been in other situations where men don't understand how much he can. Well, I've been in situations where you have strictly observation, where you have this wonderful, beautiful lady who does everything that I would assume that every man would want.
Right.
You know, she takes care of herself. If he wants her to work, he works. She works. She does all the cooks, take care of the kids, and all of this. And this man is angry and he's upset. But it ain't because of what she's doing. It's because of something he hasn't resolved where it comes to control. I've seen it over and over again. I think the biggest thing is, if you're going to be in a relationship, bring you, not broken pieces.
Well, I was gonna ask you though, like in those types of scenarios, if not all of them, be it, we'll use the scenario that you just used.
Okay.
The wife is showing up. It's not a case where she's not showing up. That's not to say she's perfect. Nobody is, right?
Nobody's
All
perfect,
can improve and do more or whatever within a relationship. But she's showing up in most of the ways. So much to where you're able to identify as a husband yourself. Yeah, she's showing up. But for whatever reason, this man is upset with her. Ultimately, it's because he's dealing with some unhealed sores, uh, pains. Some things have happened to him that he has not dealt with.
Right.
But then it's often presented where it's like, well, no, I feel the way that I feel because you're not. Well, all I want you to do is, and you're not doing, I know you're doing 11 other things, but you're not doing this. And that really just messes my life up.
That one thing.
That one thing.
That one thing. Never mind she's working a job, taking care of her kids, making sure you're taken care of. She's doing all the stuff she's gonna do, but because she didn't say something right. Because you felt disrespected because of how she said what she was saying. Wow, brother. Yeah. Really? Really? Well, the better step was, babe, you okay? Why'd you say that like that? Sweetheart, I was in a hurry. Easily explained, but most of the time we're not looking for explanation. Because
what are we looking for?
We don't look for an explanation, we look for a cause. There are so many factors in what we just said. And to have a strong, independent, and I say independence, not individual, to have a strong individual female who understands her worth, her value, and equals that with as much feminine softness to go along with that. It's a very intimidating proposition. And I say that because, and I don't say this to make a broad statement. I make it more so in a more succinct manner, in that men are fixers.
Okay.
And if you ain't got nothing broke, he gets bored.
Ay, ay, ay.
And he'll say stuff like, you act like you don't love me no more. Why you've been reading that all day long? You know, we're the boy in us wants mama's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if a female is sensitive to feed that
Mm-hmm.
and not to disdain that as being
Mm-hmm.
trifling, less than, it's the same thing with a woman. She wants her man to make her feel like a little girl at some time.
Mm-hmm.
Do this for me, take care, rub my, honey, I want more ice cream. That's not enough ice cream. Like your mom does to me sometimes. And I feel the testosterone. Get up, get your own ice cream. But I don't let the behavior. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, Papa. It's very
It's not absent. It's not absent of white noise. That's what I'm trying to say. You
Mhm.
don't do this without the white. You're gonna get Leela dancing in the background.
They not gonna know about that because we gonna edit. So
I love my baby though.
Lord,
You can still use this though, but don't mess with her.
it'll
Leave
be
her
fine.
alone. I'm gonna ask him if you don't be messing with my girl. Anyway.
All right.
So I think it's the white noise of situations that nobody gets to hear but you or me. That sometimes dominates the situation. And
Right. Right.
your mom has always
Mm.
felt that opening the car door for her was the epitome, was respectful of a man. And I've done it when we was dating. And so I got off my game a little bit and she mentioned it to me. And it's as important to me now
Yeah.
as it is to her because that's part of that makes her feel validated.
I don't think I've ever seen mommy open a car door with you around. Like
Because that's what she feels like makes her feel respected as a woman. Now you take it in someone else that says, well, this is what I need you to do for me to feel like a man. I don't think I want to do that. It's a problem.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
You create a situation in that where there's not, I don't like to use, there's not equity, not equitable, but there's no, you're not placing any equity in this relationship. And at some point, the value is going to run out if you don't place any equity. We don't do everything that we like to do for our spouse. We do everything they like for us to do.
That's what makes it work, right?
That's what makes it work.
Daddy, I
But
want
you,
to go back to, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, no,
I
no.
wanted to go back to white noise. I felt
Mhm.
like that was when you say white noise, are you talking about the voices? Are you talking about when
That's
your
it.
partner, when your mate asks you for something and it challenges something in you, it triggers something in you? Okay.
The contradiction of the request
The
and
contradiction.
the proof of why they don't deserve it. I mean,
It's
it's amazing.
real.
It's amazing how much information you can cram within in a small space of time when you're defending the undefensible.
Wow.
When it's indefensible, you need a lot of information. When you don't defend,
Mm,
information becomes mute. I apologize. How can I not do it again? That's all I need.
really? Right. Like for real, for real. Yeah.
If we go into, well, I did this because you, I did this because I don't know how I can grow from because. If I got a cause for doing what I did for you,
You have a cause for doing what, and you'll do it again because. What is that, Daddy? What identify what it is when a person is able to show up in a relationship and more times than not, because I think we all have a propensity in one way or another to
mhm,
be defensive, right? Even the most defenseless person or the person that's like,
all
you know, I just want to show up and I want to be good and I want to get along and I want to find a place of peace and where the two minds meet. Even
mhm,
that person at some point might
Right.
jump on the defensive train, right?
Right.
But what would you call it when a
Yeah.
person is
Can
able?
I correct that?
Yeah,
All of us are defensive. I'm
yeah,
defensive.
that's what I was speaking to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
in
you're
one way
definitely.
or another.
Yeah.
But what would you call it when someone is yielded in such a way where they're able to show up more times than not as someone who can accept what someone they're in relationship with is saying to them. Say like, I come to you and I say, Daddy, you offended me.
Mm-hmm.
And your automatic response to that is, oh, I apologize. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say they've tapped into to be able to consistently show up in that way, to consistently be able to not defend first,
Mm-hmm.
meet the person that they're in the relationship with at the point of which that person, whatever that person needs. They need an acknowledgement, they need an apology, they needed a whatever it is. What virtue, how is that person able to do that consistently?
Well, I think I can use myself for an example. I, how do I put this? An awareness of your fears. I think to have the idea that you're going to deal, that every situation that I'm encountered with, Elika, carries with it a battle.
Mhm. Yeah,
The- it's the customary response,
yeah.
it's the fluid response, and it's the desired response. The fluid response is I only respond to you if you mean something to me. But if you don't mean nothing to me, I'm not even gonna respond.
Mm-hmm.
The other response is you mean something to me and this is affecting me and I don't understand where it's coming from. So therefore it's pissing me off because I don't know where it's coming from. And I don't really care if it's true or not because it's hurting me right now. And I do not want to do any self-examination at this point. So this does not deserve any self-examination. It only deserves a response. Because what you said to me was so ridiculously crazy, and it's been said to me 6 times. And every time I say it, every time it's been said to me, it's so ridiculous crazy. So I'm not even gonna give it an entertainment. But white noise,
Right.
white noise, white noise is, baby, would you hand me that? Why don't you get up and get it yourself? You don't say it. White noise is, you're in a relationship with somebody. Your husband says to you, I want to make love to you tonight. You don't feel like it. White noise is, you don't feel like you've been working all day, you tired, you just woke up. But your response is, baby, I'm always there for you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. And what I find is my actions follows my confession, not my confessions follows my actions.
Always.
If I throw my confession out there
Mm-hmm.
and say, this is what I'm going to do, it empowers me to
Mm.
do what the right thing versus the wrong thing. And then I think one of the primary things is I beg of you, I beseech you, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. I think the greatest virtue that any man or woman can have, especially if they have a relationship with Yeshua, the Creator, is a reasoning relationship. We forget sometimes that God says, come, let us reason together. There are moments in my life when I encounter things and I say, Lord, I don't want to put up with this crap. I don't want to, this is my conversation with him.
Right.
I don't know if this is what you require of me. I don't know if this is,
That's
I'm having this conversation emotionally, spiritually, and then sometimes it's actually verbal. I will walk away and I say, come on now, Jesus, for real? For
Mhm.
real, I'm gonna have to really. And then he'll say to me, he'll quietly say to me, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Why are you so frustrated and angry? You were smiling earlier.
Mhm.
Was it real or was it fake?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you take the questions off of the individual who offended you and you put the questions on the individual who issued the offense or was offended. You make you the subject, not them, not it, or not the event.
So my ability to show up within a relationship and accept what my partner, friend, sister, brother, whomever,
Mm-hmm.
accept that they've told me that I've offended them.
Yes.
And my auto response to be that I hate that I offended them and that I'm sorry
Mm-hmm.
is because or comes from a place of self questioning and examination
Awareness.
and awareness.
You. Here's the thing that I think gives it a little bit more clarity. As believers and as people who espouse Yeshua and the belief in the Creator, we're always seed conscious. We believe in the seed. We believe, you know, seed time and harvest and all of that. That's one of our things. But we don't believe it in behavior.
We don't see behavior as a seed, but it
We
is.
don't see apology as a seed. We
Come
don't
on,
see forgiveness as a
come
seed.
on.
We don't see. We until we understand and define what it really means to be. And when Jesus told the word, you got to remember he was showing it by in ground, which is a type of the heart, hard-hearted, rocky, stony,
Mm,
thorny,
mm.
which is an indication of where the word's going to have to be sown as us as believers. We want to sow in a peaceful place. But the word itself is not effective because if there's already peace, the word is already there. So he puts us in these places where we're dealing with people that we have to sow seed into their lives. And here's the thing, you make no determination of what the earth receives or doesn't. You don't have nothing to do with good ground, bad ground, stony ground.
That's not your job. That's not your part.
Well, they didn't receive me. Who
That's not
cares?
your part. And you're nosy.
Mind your own business.
Yeah.
That's what
So
I'm
your
saying.
seed
So
go on about your business.
that's it. That's it. And I think what we have to do, and we're going to close here in just a minute, I'm sure. But I think what we have to do is there's a fine line between centered self and self-centered.
Yes.
We need to be centered around who we are as
Yes.
self,
Yes.
not be self-centered. That everything, if it hurts me, if it bothers me, such and such and such and such. So I think that is the beginning of successful relationship when you can have a successful relationship with yourself.
But I think that when you have a successful relationship with yourself, not think, I know because I've experienced it, it makes it that much easier for you to be in relationship with all kinds of different people because you're centered in yourself, right? You know what you bring into the table, you know what you're lacking, you know what you want, you know what you need, you know how you can help somebody else, what words you can speak, what words you can't. You know what you're working with, right?
And,
So
and because of that, the intimidation factor for anybody in the room goes way down. Nobody intimidates you.
oh, for me, yes.
For anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody that gets that philosophy of thinking, they can walk into any place, find their place, and be comfortable in that place
Yes.
and not feel the need to compete or to uh, create some kind of situation for them to be seen or to be noticed. I've always believed that a man's gift makes room for him.
Yes.
And I think our gift is not our preaching and our teaching and our singing. Our gift is the ability to navigate this life. It's the gift of eternal life. That's the gift. And that brings us before people. And it puts us in a situation where if you're praying to be better, you're always going to be in a situation to reveal your worst.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
So
Yeah.
don't be praying about how you want to be this in Jesus if you don't want to see the worst in you.
Well, on that note,
I
it's
think it
been
was
good.
good.
Amazing, Papa. I mean, there's so many places that we could pick up next time, so we'll just have to wait and see
Well,
where
I
we pick
really
up
look
from.
I really look forward to this. And for those of you that are listening to me, I don't look forward to this. I really am excited about you being able to be a part of this. And those of you that catch this on YouTube or wherever we place this on social media, I want you to really get as much from this as possible. But I'm getting all that I want, and that's spending time with my baby. Having this kind of dialogue with her and allowing you to come in and hear this dialogue. So this is a labor of love, and because I love her, that's what it is. Anyway.
You know, Dad, this is I love you very much. And I'm so grateful to share this space with you and be able to do this. This really is my love gift to the world.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
born into a family where my parents are pastors, right? I've said it before. I've never not known sharing my parents. And I'll be honest, for a long time, it was not my favorite thing. It wasn't my favorite thing. But I've reached a place in my life of such healing and wholeness and prosperity and goodness. And I love that I am so willingly in a position to share you with the world, to share these intimate moments with you, because that's what it's about, right? Like, I've been privileged to have you, to have such a terrific dad, have such a terrific father who's so full of wisdom. But not everyone has that. And so it is my honor, my pleasure, and my privilege to choose to share you with the world. I love you so much.
Love you too,
Love
baby.
y'all too. We
Yeah,
love, we love you.
very much so. This is,
And
listen, guys, once you tap in, you're not going to want to tap out.
don't tap out. You better stick with us. You know you
There
want to
you go. That's what I'm saying.
like,
Oh,
subscribe, comment, share.
yeah,
Hey, you know what? Next time we record, I'm probably gonna prompt if you don't put some comments below on this video. We want feedback. We want to know what you want to hear us talk about. If you have questions, let us know. We're here literally for you.
yes,
Yeah.
very much.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, I
Bye,
love you,
guys.
Papa.
Love
And
you too,
we love
baby.
you.
Appreciate you.
Have a great rest of your day. Join us next time. We'll see you soon. In the meantime, in between time, take care of yourself and your
And your name. Amen. Love you guys. Peace.